Don't say that.
Sorry, man.
We'll call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the City of Callaway Board of Commissioners. It is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. It's 6 p.m. If y'all will stand with me, please. Commissioner Pelletier will lead the invocation. Commissioner Briggs, please lead us in the pledge.
Lord, we thank you for allowing us to gather today. We pray for your guidance in making decisions for our city and our citizens. We thank you for our first responders, and we ask you bless them and their families. Please keep them safe and let them go home at the end of their shift. We thank you for our citizens and our employees that make Callaway a great place to be. And we pray you bless them with peace and success. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, please do a roll call. Commissioner Briggs?
Here.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Here.
Commissioner Ayers?
Here.
Mayor Henderson?
Here. Okay, tonight we have a couple presentations. First we have, and I know it's not Deputy McKenzie, I'm sorry I don't know.
I don't quite look as good as
No, I didn't say that. I just know you're not Deputy McKenzie. So you want to come on up and do the presentation?
Yes, ma'am. Might please the council. For the record, I am Corporal Taney with the County Sheriff's Office. Just knows who I am.
Okay, thank you.
So the September monthly report for the city of Callaway for the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff's Office answered 1,029 calls. We did 148 traffic stops. Out of those 148 traffic stops, we had 92 citations issued. And out of that, 28 citations were issued as a result of a traffic crash. We arrested 34 individuals and we patrolled 28,267 miles of the city of Callaway. As far as the traffic crashes are concerned, we had 37 of them that was reported. We had 6 of them that were in parking lots. Out of those 6 in the parking lots, we had 4 that were as a result of improper backing. 1 is an improper turn, and then there was 1 that was very minimal minor damage to the vehicle. We had 31 of those that are non-parking lot crashes. 5 of which occurred at Cherry Street and Timber Parkway. 2 of them at Timber Parkway and East 7th. Out of those, we had 8 of them. The contributing factor was failure to yield right away. 4 of them was careless driving. 3 of them was improper backing. 2 of them was improper turns. 2 of them ran a stop sign or a stoplight. 1 of them was following too closely. 2 fast for conditions, hit and run, faulty equipment, and failed to keep proper lane. All those were 1 of these. And that is all that we have for the city of Callaway that the sheriff's office has done. I know we've done several active patrols, especially on my shift. We can consistently patrol throughout Callaway. We had quite a few extra patrols for citizens calling to request being out of town or seeing suspicious activity in the area. We always try to get those areas nice and heavy to prevent any crime from happening. Is there any questions for me for the council?
I do have a comment. This was the second highest month this year for the mileage, which I could look at and go through the other statistics that we have, and very honestly, I could make a case that y'all were out there seeing more and perhaps that had a difference, that made a difference, and I think, I'm gonna say it did, had a difference in what was going on negatively. So, appreciate that.
Yes, I always tell my guys that being seen is just as good as going out and putting someone in jail. At least you deter the crime. You're not waiting for the crime to occur.
Right.
Exactly right.
And that's what I attribute the results with that extra mileage, so,
Yes.
thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now we have a presentation. Jennifer Binkle is going to do a tourism presentation.
Thank you so much. Do I need to change anything or just nod? Just nod. Thank you so much for having me here, and I want to say a special thanks to City Manager Eddie Cook for taking my slides at the very last minute. My youngest daughter got married in California, and I just got back on Saturday. And as I know, it's like full circle because I was pregnant for my youngest daughter in 1999 when I worked here at Callaway. So she's 26 and she got married. So congratulations to Callaway.
Yeah.
Thank you again for letting me come and have the opportunity to speak with you tonight. And basically, I'm here because of the amount of inquiries we get from your business community, specifically your hoteliers. I work as a Destination Panama City president and CEO. I've been doing that now for 10 years. Prior to that, I was at Visit South Walton doing their tourism. And I think what people don't realize is that tourism just isn't for large destinations. So just by a show of hands, does anybody think that the city of Callaway generates more than $3 million in tourism? $5 million? 7? 9? So the city of Callaway actually generates almost $10 million a year in tourism. You have 4 major hotels, plus the Tyndall Inn, and you have an abundance of Airbnbs. I did my numbers basically just off 50% occupancy and a very low ADR rate of $80, which most of your properties that are hotels charge more than $80 a night. And just so you're aware, math-wise, what we're talking about, when you have $10 million in short-term rental revenue that is coming into your community, as we generally do a 20% reduction for tax-exempt stays because you're so close to a military base, but that equates to about $399,000 a year in tourist development tax that could help some of the activities that go on this side of the bridge, so to speak. So the way that tourism works, go to the next slide. So that's the value of tourism. It's an economic driver. We have a lot of your hoteliers that contact us asking if we can help fill their hotel rooms. We meet with meeting planners, we do a lot of pitches, we do public relations. We also do groups and families and reunions and things like that, traveling for sports teams. A lot of that has definite impact when you're so close to the Air Force Base and you have such amazing recreational fields over here in Callaway. Next slide. So the TDT, a lot of people don't understand what the TDT is, and they hear the word tax and they're immediately repulsed by it. So for the community and for the benefit of the board that's not familiar, tourist development tax in the state of Florida can only be assessed at the county level. It's governed by Chapter 125.014 of the Florida statute, and it has to be approved by the people. It's not paid by the people that live here because it's only applied to short-term rentals. In the state of Florida, a short-term rental is defined as anything that is 6 months or less, which is why when you see a lot of your residential leases, you'll see either 7 months or 12 months on the lease. So this is to make sure that travelers from outside the community are the ones that are infusing these funds into the community. TDT dollars benefit local communities because we can do things like support events, we can promote and market, and it's also a funding mechanism for growth. When I was working at Visit South Walton, Carol Roberts, the former Bay County Chamber boss, was tasked with finding out why Panama City was the only city in Northwest Florida that was not growing. All the other communities in Northwest Florida at that time in 2013, 2014 were growing. Panama City was the only one that was seeing a decline in population and a mass exodus of businesses from the Panama City Mall and the 23rd Street corridor. After a great deal of research, they realized that Panama City was the largest coastal city in Northwest Florida that did not have a tourism development tax, which provided a revenue stream for promotion and marketing of that destination. Mexico Beach has one, Panama City Beach has one, Navarre, Pensacola, South Walton. So they took it to the voters in a binding referendum back in 2014, and the citizens of Panama City overwhelmingly voted to enact and ask Bay County to assess and create a tourist development tax that would specifically market the city of Panama City. When they started, everyone is familiar that Panama City has the 1 cent sales tax. When we started Destination Panama City, that 1 cent sales tax was worth about $8 million a year. Today, that 1 cent sales tax is worth close to $14 million a year. So the proof is in the pudding when it comes to promotion and marketing and what it does for small businesses and sustainable growth within communities. Next slide. So what do we do with the TDT funds? Like I said before, TDT funds are specifically designated with Chapter 125.014 of the Florida Legislature. We do marketings that promote local businesses. We do historic and cultural that preserve the heritage of the community. We support local events, and we actually support infrastructure improvements such as street signage, wayfaring signage, things like that. Next slide. So I wanted to do a map of, you already know, I'm sure, where the hotels are in the city of Callaway, but I wanted to show you a map from AirDNA. And AirDNA populates where all of the VRBO rentals or Airbnb rentals are within a specific district. So you can see based on the hyper purple pigmentation, you actually have quite a few VRBOs or Airbnbs located right here in Callaway. Next slide. The economic ripple effect. So the economy supports small business. I know that a lot of what we do, people think is just making fancy commercials and doing marketing campaigns that try to convince people to come. But that was marketing of the 1990s and the early 2000s with data enhancements and everybody walking around with a cell phone and everybody paying for things with either a debit card or a credit card. There's so much data that we can aggregate. We actually now can prove to local businesses that about 30% of every local business's revenue is from an outside dollar. So our local businesses, our small mom and pop coffee shops, they really would not be able to survive without the influx of visitors that we get to Bay County as a whole. Next slide. So very sadly, what I have to do when your hotel partners call and when the Lynn Haven hotel partner calls and asks if they can be part of Destination Panama City, I have to tell them no. We can't just expand our district. As I mentioned earlier, our district was created by a binding referendum vote of the citizens, and that would be required of the same thing. So when we have the tourism partners reach out to us, we direct them back to you and tell them they have to start their own grassroots effort in order to get it on a referendum and see if your citizens support a tourist development taxing district. You could create your own district. You could petition Bay County to just expand the Destination Panama City district. Years ago, there was talk about doing that, so we actually did already purchase the URL back in 2016, greaterpanamacity.com. So those things are in fact were you to make the choice to go in that direction. If you did your own tourism district, obviously the funds are limited. Right now in our district, we're collecting about $2 million a year, and that's still a very low budget destination marketing organization. We're a very streamlined entity, So my personal suggestion is to make your money go further, you would probably look at joining a district, because once you have salaries and staffing, you generally would eat up a lot of the overhead costs just on operational expenses versus having a built-in marketing agency already right next door to you. The other thing that we have is our organization makes sure that local character stays intact. We don't want everyone. We want people that value the community that we live in. We want sustainable growth. One of the mottos that we have at Destination Panama City is that a great place to live is a great place to visit. So we don't want the community to change so much so that it's unrecognizable and unlovable to the residents that live there. We want it to be something that everyone is proud of, and that so that every resident is truly an ambassador for the destination. Next slide. Tourism is community identity. We also don't manufacture moments. So we don't create things that don't exist here. One of the first questions that I was asked when I was interviewing for this position over 10 years ago was, how would I compete with Panama City Beach? How could I, in Panama City, compete with Panama City Beach? And I explained to them that Panama City Beach was not the comp set for Panama City. We're nothing alike. We don't have a go-kart track. We don't have, putt-putt golf courses. We don't have those things. What we have is true identity and character. So who our closest competitor was actually South Wolin. We're looking at walkable districts, culinary scene, cultural amenities like the Festival of Nations and Oktoberfest and things like that. So we're not looking to create things that didn't exist prior, but more to amplify the voice of the community that is being represented. Next slide. The other thing that we focus on is sustainable travel. So we've created the Panama City Oyster Trail. Having the Panama City Oyster Trail serves a multitude of purposes. Number one, it allows us to direct travelers to local restaurants to spend their money at local places. It also allows us to educate the travelers that are coming to the area about the importance of the ecology of the bay and what it means to our livelihood in this area. As a maritime community, we have an obligation to teach the people that come to visit how to help us take care of our community. And next slide. I'm only here to keep the conversation going. Make sure you have my contact information, my email, and to answer any questions that you have about a potential TDT district or how you might pursue one, or if you have any questions at all about how tourism currently works in the state of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got lots of questions.
Okay.
Well, we need to make sure.
Have a great night, y'all.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Good job.
Okay, we will on to mayor's instructions. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay. And just to review quickly the public participation process, you can speak on any item on the agenda, when we get to the agenda items, each agenda item after we discuss, I'll ask for public participation. If you want to speak on an item, just raise your hand. Once you recognize, come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record if you so choose, and then your 3 minutes will start. Then you can speak on each item if you want to. If there's something that you want to speak about that is not on the agenda, at the end of the meeting, we have public participation on non-agenda items. So process is the same. Once you recognize, come up, state your name and address if you want to, and then you have 3 minutes to speak about a non-agenda item. So we will go on to approval of minutes. We have the minutes of the September 23rd, 2025 regular meeting. Did anybody have any comments or questions on those minutes? Any changes?
I thought everything was good. I wanted to add my response to Teresa Langston's comment about the Florida Sunshine Law, and in the spirit of the Florida Sunshine Law and the appearance improprieties is why I did not answer Commissioner Smart's email. So please add that.
Ashley? No.
I'm sorry. There's
Is this what you said at the meeting?
At the meeting.
We're having slight technical issues right now. Sound is not working.
It's just, would you record his response to Ms. Langston about sunshine laws?
Yes, ma'am.
You would just add that. So if nobody else had anything, I would entertain a motion to approve as amended.
Motion approved as amended.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the regular agenda. Item number 1, small scale comp plan amendment, ordinance number 1124, small scale comp plan amendment 1023 Primrose Street.
Okay, this is a first reading of ordinance number 1124. An ordinance amending the comprehensive plan of the city of Callaway, acting upon the application of Rocker Trail, designating for commercial future land use a certain parcel of land lying within the city of Callaway, Florida, consisting of approximately 2.71 acres more or less. Said parcel is located at 1023 Primrose Street, Callaway, Florida, parcel ID 07384277000, as more particularly described in the body of the ordinance. Amending the city's future land use map for commercial designation for the parcel, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing that this ordinance shall take effect as provided by law.
City Manager?
Mr. Fry.
Good evening. I just want to take a minute to explain that we got 2 separate items here tonight. One was the future land use map, which is our first item, but they tend to blend together for people who don't do this every day. The second item is for our rezoning map, which is Callaway specific. And the rezoning breaks it down into 3 different categories. The first item for the comp plan, the future land use map, is simply changing it to commercial generally. So, but they do tend to blend together. I know Mr. Trail is here tonight. He is prepared to give a small presentation. Mayor, with your permission, I'd like to let Mr. Trail thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like I say, I'm sure everyone's already reviewed the package and everything, but a couple things I'd like to highlight is, I've been looking at boat storage a lot since like 2020. Back then things didn't work out for me, but things finally came around and I purchased a lot in 2024. And after I'd done research, as far as everything, and had boat storage for this parcel. So I moved forward and bought the parcel last year, and I was trying to move forward with boat storage. Couple key points is this site is not part of the East Bay HOA. I think there may be a confusion during our initial meeting. It's not affiliated with Adams Homes. The site, it's only 200 feet inside the city of Callaway, and it does pass for 4 houses on Poster Road where you leave 2297 to get to the first entrance of the lot. I'm just trying to do a small boat storage operation. It's a real mundane operations, like 30 boats. I checked the boat storage place here in Callaway, and they actually have about 2 boats out of 100 some spots. 2 boats that go in and out, maybe 2 goes out on Friday and 2 comes in on Monday. So it's very low traffic activity. Like I say, it's 1 street off of Poston, and you really can't even see it from the road. My plan has a fence around it and landscaping and all that. That was pretty much basic summary, like everybody else in the package.
John Gombeck, 427 Mackenzie Avenue, here on behalf of Mr. Trail, with Timothy J. Sloan, PA. The point that I just wanted to point out was that the plat that is referenced in Mr. Trail's deeds and all deeds prior to Mr. Trail's ownership of this property is, it designates it or describes his property as boat storage. And that plat actually was approved already by the city council, or the city commission, excuse me, of the city of Callaway. I did not see a copy of the plat in the agenda packet, but I have a copy here if y'all would like to look at it.
Yeah, you want to.
He's gonna pull it up so everybody can see it.
Mayor, the property, Mr. Trail's property, you can find that on page 3 of the plat that I just provided to you. It's states boat storage.
I was just looking at this, from 2007.
2006, March 14, 2006, there's a certification of approval by the city commission on the first page of that plat.
Would you all want to see this?
No, I saw her. It was everybody but us. Thank you.
Pardon?
Did you want to see the?
You don't
See it, we can see it.
Yeah, there's-
See what's like those for.
No.
Oh, there you are. That's the lot. That's really cool. Sure. Should be it.
So this is, can we go ahead and talk now or what?
Fine with me.
Now this, what we're looking at here is original East Bay, is that correct?
East Bay Phase 1A, as reported in 2006.
Right. Now, since that time, since that was, bought, the development was bought, we're now in what, Sunrise?
But this is the plat of East Bay Phase 1A that's on the screen. So somebody might have bought some of the lots, or that there's more undeveloped vacant land behind it, but that was platted by the commission in 2006, and lots were sold off and all that. So
Well, isn't this a PD?
part of it is zoned PD, and for some reason, the rest of it, including the boat storage part, and a lot of the unplatted was left undesignated. Probably, you know,
So the boat storage that the PD and the developers are advertising is not in,
the boat storage is undesignated as far as Callaway zoning, but it is part of the plat of East Bay Phase 1A.
okay.
And
So
there's-
what are we looking at? Are we looking at a cleanup situation?
Basically, yeah, I think probably back in
I
2006.
mean, a legal cleanup.
Yeah, legally, I think back in 2006, when the commission approved this plat, they should have made sure that everything in the plat boundary was zoned, you know. And again, it mostly is, but they left, I don't know if they can scroll a little bit. There's part of the, like, scroll to the north. Right. There's part of the plat boundary. No, part of the plat. No, like north, there you go, keep going. Where it says future development, that's also part of the plat boundary. It just says future development, which I'm sure is undesignated as well. So, to me, looking at this, I agree for the boat storage, it's clearly platted as boat storage. It wasn't left as, future, retained by developer, future development. There are some areas, like right here on the screen, that say future development. That was not one. Boat storage was not one. It was clearly, that's the name of the lot. Like you buy lot 10, or you buy boat storage. So anybody who bought in there would see that recorded plat and know.
Well, anybody that bought in there would be looking, the salespeople would say, if you have a boat, this is where your boat's gonna be stored.
100%.
Now, who's controlling, regardless of this apparent sale, et cetera,
In 2006, it was still retained by the developer.
by the developer?
Right. It didn't go to the HOA, it was retained by the
All
developer.
right, did the developer eventually turn that over to the HOA? And is there an active HOA now?
They did not, because the developer, I think, eventually sold it because it's a separate parcel, just like you would say lot 11 or lot 12 or whatever is a separate parcel. They sold it.
Now, if that is taking place on this, when I look at the marina side of it, is the same thing going to occur concerning?
I'm not
marina?
sure if the marina is part of it. I mean, there's this future development parcel here to the north. I'm not sure exactly where the marina is, if it's that or if it's farther north or not.
Well, they're
We're looking
advertising
at-
that in their, in their advertisement,
Right.
this is where the marina's gonna be.
Right. But if it's not part of this, I mean, unless it's here where it says future development, well, first of all, it doesn't say, if that's where it is, it doesn't say marina, so I don't think you would have the same arguments. So unless there's a plan in phase 1B or phase 1C or whatever, I don't think you'd have the same arguments that you have now where it is platted as boat storage. Period.
Mr. Pratt, is that where the marina
That's-
is gonna go, where it says future development?
I think
It may be
there's
farther
not
north.
already across the street.
It may be farther north, and it's not for plat, not in the boundary.
Well, it'd be against that water which is on the north side. And if that is already designated as marina, then that would actually be, commercial property. I don't know why.
And again, I don't know if that marina, where the proposed marina is, I don't know if that's even been platted, all we know is about, for this parcel today,
Undesignated.
I don't even know if it's plat, I mean, if it's part of a plat at different phase, I don't think it's on this plat.
But the marina has nothing to do with this.
No, but I'm just, it looks like, years ago, Florida was recognized as selling swampland. And it looks like, and when East Bay came up, that's one of the reasons we put our water and sewer extension going out there. We needed part of that 7,000. We needed part of those units and all. This reason I'm saying this looks like housekeeping is if this was designated as, trailer parking. And all the residents that bought in out there, whether they had a boat or not, if they got a boat, they could put their trailer or actually their boat, in that spot out there. Now, that would be part of the developer, that'd be part of the HOA, if they're telling the residents, this is where you can put your boat. So, my question
It
is.
could have been, so like they designated this on the plat as boat storage. The developer retained it. Now, he could have sold 10 or 12 lots off, got 20, and he could have easily quitclaim deeded the boat storage parcel to the HOA if he wanted to, or sold it to somebody private. You've got a lot of.
But can he sell that off with that being designated boat storage? Can he sell that off?
As boat storage, yeah.
Well, as boat storage.
Yeah, and so that's why they're here today.
Not as car storage, not as all the others, not as anything else. Not as putting it has to be there as boat storage.
It is called boat storage.
So when they sold this property to the individual, was the understanding this is for boat storage? Not for you to be putting a garage on it, not for you to put start using automobile storage in there, or whatever. Is this part of the?
I think it would, yeah, I mean, whatever that comes, boat storage, whatever sort of ancillary uses you have to that, obviously people have to park boats and or cars and trailers with it, but yes, I mean, all we have to go by is in 2006, it said boat storage. That was
Okay.
the expectation.
Then it comes back to us.
So we're just trying to get it zoned and land use properly because it was left undesignated for some unknown reason.
My question is, if it's going to be for boat storage, what are we back involved in this for?
Because it never got designated. It's just undesignated, unzoned land.
So that's the housekeeping.
That's why we're here.
Okay. Is there an active HOA?
I was told there was.
I do know that there is a document.
I'm seeing it's going this way out there, is it?
I know there's a document that's been recorded that removes not just this parcel, but various other parcels in the area from any sort of encumbrance.
There may be an HOA,
presented by the
but the boat storage lot is not part of it apparently. It's not subject to the HOA restrictions.
So the HOA has no, so that kicks it back to us?
We're just trying to get it, it's sitting there as, we approved it as boat storage on the plat, and for some reason, the city commission in 2006 didn't make sure it was zoned. And it could have been PD zoning, it could have been commercial, like they're asking for, it could have been whatever fits. But they just left it undesignated, so it's sort of sitting in no man's land, so they're just trying to, like I said, housekeeping. They're just trying to housekeep it properly zoned. It's going from undesignated to, the proposal is commercial.
So basically, the residents, any of the residents in this have no stake whatsoever in this property.
Well, I mean, if it's not part of the HOA, then they wouldn't.
Or the use of the property.
As far as, like any resident, when you're looking at a rezoning or land use change, you can always come as stakeholders which are adjacent. I guess my issue is, this one says flat out boat storage. If they were coming here to redesignate the one that says future development, well, okay, let's look at all the surrounding uses, does it fit,
Right.
Here, our hands are kind of tied by our 2006 Callaway commissioners, because they looked at this plat, approved it, and signed it. So that's gonna be boat storage.
As boat storage.
Right. So we're looking at it today, what land use fits and what zoning will fit for boat storage.
Well, when we get into, the land use, but when you get into the zoning.
Zoning, you have three choices, right, for commercial, or whatever.
In the zoning, we don't have the capability of saying this is only gonna be boats, do we?
No, we've just got to get it, that, which is why I'm saying it probably back then should have been part of the PD, where it's all laid out in there under a master plan. And for some reason, they sort of halfway phased it in.
Do we have any responsibility toward what wasn't done back then?
Not us.
Well, I mean,
The commission does, the city does.
Yes.
The city approved it, but
you guys didn't make that decision.
We didn't make that
2006, obviously,
decision.
but yeah, you don't want to leave anything.
there's no way to make that decision today.
So we really don't have a choice. This is gonna have to go in that direction. And actually going in that direction since the development, CRA, the developers have no stake in this now. But the stake that we have in it is it has to be at least today,
I would say it has to be designated something that's consistent with boat storage. If they were
Right.
in the future development, which is just no man's land, then you've got choices to make. But it says literally boat storage. That's the name of the lot.
so we
I don't
don't,
want to make that argument in front of the judge.
I see we don't have a choice there. Now, according to the letter and read every word of everything what you sent us and what we have and all that, according to what you wanna do, you wanna put a building on it, you wanna store automobiles in it, antique automobiles,
My personal.
et cetera. I don't know if, you know, but I guess we don't have anything to do with it, whether you charge for boat storage or what, and maybe there's an income stream there. I don't know, but I don't see where we're involved in that side of it. And I don't see a way that we can stop you from putting your building on there and unless we have some legal way to say, wait a minute, this is boat storage. And you can't put additional buildings on it, et cetera. And if we go on this route, we'd be going commercial. And commercial can change.
Right, and I kind of, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, from the city's role,
Right.
we don't want undesignated land out there. It should have been undesignated.
Right.
We're fixing that. So since we approved it, platted as boat storage, we need to put whatever designation is appropriate. It sounds like it's commercial. As far as any sort of like further restriction, I think that'd be up to, you know, neighbors or whoever. Like when it gets started, they can sit there and say, well, hey, again, if they do something different on it that's not allowed under commercial, then they can pull the plat up, and they can, especially if it's part of the HOA, but I guess it got removed from that. Well, that's, we're not part of the HOA. There are certainly other arguments that can be made by neighbors and private citizens, but as looking at the City of Callaway Commission, we need to designate this, and we approved it in 2006 as a boat storage lot.
Right.
So we need to do what's consistent with that to clean it up, and that's the end of it. Any other arguments would come from neighbors, or any other agreed party.
Well, any other arguments would actually be started by the property owner who is maybe wanting to do something that the neighbors and everything don't want done.
Right.
But at this point, we have no option that, you've answered my question, there's no option that, other than,
Well, I guess my thing is the commission in 2006 already, they approved it. Like I said, if it's future development or just retained by developer,
you know,
yeah, then you got plenty of options. But that's not what it said. It said boat storage.
you know. Now, to have other options other than boat storage, does the owner have to come back and ask for those, which he actually already has on his?
Well, I think, once you get the land use and zoning right, you still have to come back and get, you know, develop order and whatever. Or we're just doing the land use and zoning. Or we're just doing first reading, actually, right, to it.
And this is the first reading.
Right, well, this is the first reading, but at least this will be the same as second reading. Now, the additional discussions are going to occur with the zoning. And that's going to get interesting.
You gentlemen have anything to say?
I don't like it, you know, and as I was talking, boat storage, that's car storage, so they're gonna turn into a car garage, you know, and that has to be addressed later on by us, you know, but I don't like the whole issue. You know, basically you got a wrong that we're trying to make right, but in my mind, we're making two wrongs, you know. In other words, why do we have to rezone it? Why can't we just leave it the way it is?
Because it's undesignated.
No, it's not, it is boat storage.
It's platted as boat storage. There's no future land use or zoning on that property.
Then
But as a city,
we know
you don't want that in your streets.
Right, I know.
Yeah, it's true. You do anything.
Right.
So at least this does put some
So-
restrictions.
I understand.
We have to go with this first part.
I don't like it, but I understand.
Yeah.
If it goes to page one, there's 5 people we can blame.
I know, it's us.
Their names.
I know who they
That's
are.
right.
Yeah.
None of
We
that.
all know who they are. Yeah. It should have never been done, but it was.
So it should have never been left undesignated.
Right, exactly. It wouldn't happen today, you know.
No.
Absolutely.
You have anything, Commissioner?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Does anybody, did you all have anything else to say?
I mean, as far as it's not a commercial automotive facility. I've always had a bunch of antiques and stuff like that. It's always been for personal use. You know, there's been some Christians now, but that's all personal use.
Thank you, sir. Did anybody in the audience want to comment on this item? Yes, sir.
I think there's some others as well.
So I need you to come up to the microphone.
Oh, okay, thank you. My name is Matt Bullard. I live at 11533 Poston Road. And Honorable Mayor, Honorable Commissioners, this rezoning, and I'm a little confused by what has been done in the past, but putting 2.7 acres in the middle of single-family dwellings is not a metaphor or simile for spot zoning. This is spot zoning. This will kill a neighborhood. It'll hurt in the long run and lower taxes and property values, not to mention traffic. And we have a petition from a lot of the residents there. Those residents and those homes weren't there for profit motive. That's where people live. And so to put a commercial property right in the middle of that is just incredible. And there's over 40 categories of commercial that he could, or the applicant could decide to change. So, if that's your vote, you got to vote, I guess, to rezone it. And that's, of course, your power to do that, each one of you. So please consider either not rezoning it. That's what the residents of that area. And one other problem, the peninsula jabs out into East Bay, and there's more houses going to be built, more traffic, of course. We expect that. But this will add tremendously to that. But other things could be put there. So you have the authority, of course, and the power to rezone the property. That's part of what you have to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Well, this gentleman raised his hand. You can come on up.
I'm willing to wait if you want to go. I'm Joel Smith, 6423 Church Street. And I guess my point's a little bit interesting in from a growth standpoint. Seems like Callaway's been kind of growing and feels like it's kind of healing. And I think about small business, and my points kind of dovetail with the comments earlier on the tourism. And I find it interesting that the developer has platted, and for each people, all the people in the community have seen this specified as boat storage. And Mr. Trail comes in and buys this thinking he can do that with that. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of blame that could be poked in a lot of different places, but clearly he looks disenfranchised by the developer presenting to all the homeowners that this is going to be boat storage. He makes a big investment and finds out that now we have to go specify the land use from a regulatory standpoint. It doesn't look like this was taken care of appropriately out of the beginning. I don't know who's responsible for that. So it feels a lot like a not in my backyard, and I don't know how the city deals with this. I'll call it in the more center of town, where you're talking about businesses that want to come in, make investments in Callaway, provide community services, grow the community, and you start getting specific on what they can do. We can't stop growth. Growth is going to occur out on the perimeters, wherever. It will eventually reach this neighborhood. As a matter of fact, there's only one street that goes through this neighborhood, and it goes into the county. As far as I know, the county could zone a commercial business out into the peninsula that would bring all the same traffic issues. They could actually do an automotive oil change garage out there, which I haven't heard anybody's going to do this. But my point is this seems like a fairness issue, and it feels like a growth. Why not be fair? Why not be fair to people that want to invest? He had no idea he would not be able to make this progress in this investment. So I call on you guys to vote for growth in the city, support a small business. It is tough for neighbors, but I feel like some of the neighbors are a little bit, have misinformation, and it's not clear to me that this is a bad thing, because we have a lot of water there. There's boats parked in the HOA against the rules, and they don't even enforce those. A boat storage would be a nice amenity for this one. So I call on you guys, vote for fairness.
Yes, sir, you want to come up?
I'm Lloyd Hildreth, and I live at 11923 Poston Road. And I've been asked by 52 of the residents of Poston Road, or the people who use Poston Road to get to and from their homes, to present a petition to y'all asking for no commercial zoning. I bought the house on the corner of Poston and 2297 that was the office model home for the original East Bay community. Nobody ever lived in the house. It sat there empty for 9 years, and it was full of all the promotional materials. This is a copy, and if y'all want to look at it, of the original East Bay plan. Everything commercial is shown in red. The boat storage place is not shown in red. It shows a dry storage stack, boat storage over in a marina, a commercial marina. It shows shops and restaurants along the water. It shows back there on Pickling Bayou, a little piece of commercial. The boat storage was supposed to be a free place for the people at East Bay to store their boats and trailers. It wasn't to be a commercial business. And I don't believe if it was part of that community, it would have had to be zoned commercial back then. I may be wrong on that. But the original intention is for a free place that's not commercial for the residents of East Bay to store their stuff. The other thing is, the roads out there are horrible. I know y'all voted to get them done, but for 5 years they've been horrible. The stormwater runoff is horrible. Everything floods. We just don't need commercial in the middle of all this right now. I personally don't have a problem with a hobby workshop building on a piece of property. And I don't think many of the residents do. I mean, he'd have to abide by code enforcement and all, but changing this to commercial is just wrong. It was never intended to be commercial, if y'all want to look at this.
I do. And can you provide a copy of your petition?
Oh, yes.
Can you get it?
Give it to the city clerk.
I've got two of these.
Was there anything else, sir? Your time's just about up.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to comment that, being a broker myself, I can see the salespeople passing that out, but what's law is the plat.
That's it.
You know.
Okay, whatever they put on the plan doesn't really
Yeah,
mean.
whatever they put, but whatever, and I understand what's going on, I don't like it either, but being a broker, I can see the salespeople funding that out, but at the end of the day, the plat overrides that.
Well, normally, if I can cut in here,
Go ahead.
normally what you would have and what I would expect on this, that this property designated as boat property, boat storage, would be common, would be part of the common of the development. Now, what happened and why this happened, they sold that. Rather than it being common property, they apparently sold that piece.
Right.
Which then at that point
That's what the dilemmas are.
Yeah, and that's where,
That'd be normal and great. I mean, how many times we've seen at the beach where a developer retains the swimming pool and says, now that's a private club. So yeah, you're part of the condo HOA, you pay our HOA dues, but you want to use the pool and the tiki hut, you got to join a club and it's going to the, I mean, it happens.
yeah.
I mean, it happens. So yeah, in an ideal world, sure, it'd be common area and
Well,
the
we
HOA
know,
assessments make
you know,
it.
if I was buying property out there,
They have
that's
these
what I
private clubs and private amenities. And
that's what I was alluding to before. If you were buying property out there and you had a boat, and very honestly, you know, the way they design the houses and all, there's no parking on the front. You know, everything is in the rear. So this would have been an ideal situation if I was buying out there, that this is where I could store my boat or my trailer if my boat was in the water and all that. So, but that meant that it had to be common ground.
It was sold.
So when it was sold to an individual, to me, they lost that opportunity. So that's, and that, here again, unfortunately, then that kicks it back to us.
Right.
Because then it becomes a piece of property that's not common and not part of the. So when they made that decision, whoever made that decision back then to sell it to the individual, that's where the follow-up came.
That's right.
You know, it's not that we, you know, sometime back then, it's not that it wasn't designated commercial or anything at that time, so it's really not housekeeping. It's new because they sold the property and got it away from.
Well, but now, I mean, when they recorded that plat, that's when you would have dedicated it to the HOA. So it is old, because the city commission could have seen that then.
Yeah.
And they allowed that developer to retain all these future, there's several future development parcels in this plat of 1A alone. And then there's a boat storage parcel, which is all retained by the developer, retained by the owner. Yeah, so if the commission wanted that way, they should set an HOA, make that HOA coming out, and we actually legally could have done that, but that's what we see a lot of the time. But this was
could have done it later, but people that.
Yeah, well, this developer still could have, he still could have dedicated that to HOA, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, but when we were in this plat, well, he actually owned all of it, and he sold lots off, and then instead of giving anything to HOA, he sold the boat storage parcel off.
Did anybody else leave that? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Donna Yielding. I'm at 11413 Fowler Street. How do you know that it was going to be zoned commercial, that plat?
We don't know, we know it was designated as boat storage, that's all we know.
Okay, so there was only one way in there. Original plan, there was supposed to be 2 more streets going in from 2297. And that just, you know, the whole thing fell out. The builder went under. And then Adams Homes came in, and that's what I'm in, is in an Adams home. I'm against this. I have signatures from my community of Adams Homes that are against it. Has anybody been out there to look? You have? Okay. Well, when you come in, you see our little beautiful sign, and you'll come in, and it's to the left. There's some pine trees right now there until that property is sold. Don't know how that's gonna go. But I don't mind about the boat deal, but I'm worried about this metal building, 2-story building that could go in there. And then what will happen down the line when he's done with it and somebody else wants to put a dollar store or whatever? Is it does not look good. It's not gonna look good. I'm scared I'm gonna lose on my investment. Thank you.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Where do you live on the map?
Where do I live?
I believe there was someone else that wanted to speak, if you want to come on up.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you want to turn your petition into,
There's.
did you want to turn your petition into the city clerk?
Yeah, I am over here.
Excuse- I need y'all to go ahead and get finished with your side discussion, please. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Christina Bear, and I live at 11725 Poston Road. And I apologize if I stumble through this. I'm a novice to proceedings and plannings and plats, and I don't fully comprehend it. Only thing I do know is I'm one of the 6 houses that you have to pass in order to get to the turn to the proposed development. And understanding that the community is currently being built, so there will be construction workers. I'm looking at the long goal of eventually I'll go away and our quiet little community will go back to just single family homes, quiet, people can walk down the road. I see their families are riding on their bikes. And I question if that's gonna happen if we open it up. I wasn't aware that it was originally, let me backtrack. I was aware that it was a boating area. My house, when it was sold to me, I was told that that was a community for us, and I understand there might be some issues there, but that would be for us to park, not to bring outsiders, which could, if we open it up, could bring others that don't live in the community down that area. I get it, it's towards the start of the community, but I'm in one of those 6 houses, they're gonna have to pass by mine. We have issues with the roads, not knowing who's, I could walk down to my neighbor's house, I don't know these people, so I'm definitely opposed to that. Also, I was told, and I can put it on the map, the area in front of me and behind me is protected wetlands. I guess shame on me, I didn't do the research, but my understanding that nothing would happen. That's why I got my house, because I was told that it would be a quiet area, there would not be built up developments, it would just be single family homes, single family use in a community. I understand if we want to talk about the fairness of this individual bought the property, which to me, that seemed like we need to do research and look at how that was done, because it was sold in a way that it would be open to the community to use for community members to park their boats, the RVs, etc. But if we're talking about fairness, if I recall, it's either 51 or 52 members of the community that are opposed to this. And I apologize if I didn't say earlier, I'm opposed to this as well. I'm one of the members who signed against a member who recently bought the land. So if we're talking about fairness, what about those 52 members? I bought a house, I'm a first-time homeowner. If this gets even opened up and what could come from that, I don't fully know, again, the plotting and the landing and everything about how much, but are all the trees gonna come down? And I'm gonna have to look at businesses and things in front of my house. I'm gonna lose the value on my home, and if that does happen, I'm starting to think I'm gonna have to look to move and sell my house, because that's not the community that I moved to, that's not what sold me on buying that house. And I've invested my time and effort and money into this house.
Sorry, the time. Thank you. Good. Yes, sir?
Good evening, Mr. Council Mayor. My name is William Troop. I live at 11733 Poston Road. I'm one of her neighbors. I have great concerns about this. Again, when we're talking about boat storage, it was sold to us as residential boat storage for us to be able, with the community members, not to be a commercial facility with charge for people outside the community. And, we visioned just a member of the community doing boat storage there. There was no mention of a commercial auto repair facility, auto body shop, okay? We're talking about a commercial, that's our concern, is commercial versus residential. I have no problem with somebody building a garage and, associated with a residential community, but what happens if the property changes hands? Then it becomes an auto repair shop. There's serious public safety, environmental, and traffic concerns that I mentioned to the Planning Commission. I mean, You're talking large amount of flammable fluids. You're talking about large amount of potential environmental contamination. Stuff is spilling into the common waterway. As you know, that the water table is very high there. We all in our community do not want a commercial auto repair or maintenance facility in our community. A residential storage facility for classic cars, that's not a problem. But when you're talking a commercial auto repair facility with all the hazards, traffic, environmental issues, and public safety issues associated with that, that should not happen in our community. We deserve better. We all bought there. We never envisioned having an auto repair shop across the street from us. Okay, and it was sold to us, as she mentioned, that those wetlands would never be built on. That's the reason I bought my house, is I can have an impeccable view in front of my house of unbuildable wetlands. And again, is there a way we can do this to meet the needs of Mr. Trail in a residential way occupancy that wouldn't have commercial implications? I do not want an auto repair shop in our community. And by the way, the boat storage has no mention of auto storage for any auto repair or anything like that. And the boat storage was for the community residents to enjoy at no cost. That's the way it was presented to us. Not a commercial facility where people are going to come put their boats there. And what's that traffic going to look like? At 5 o'clock in the morning when people go fishing, are they going to be, hitting up the generators, emptying bilge pumps? And what's going to be, how are they going to dispose of whatever waste and other things that come from the boats, as well as this proposed auto storage facility? Again, I get that your hands may be tied with regards to the boat storage, but again, there has to be environmental concerns. How are we going to address that? How are we going to address the traffic? The traffic is horrible, as my neighbor, Mr. Helmuth, mentioned. How are we going to deal with that? I really implore you not to do this. If we can find a way to get a residential type of thing for the not commercial, for the auto storage and repair facility, I get that. But we cannot have a commercial occupancy in a residential community. There's too much public safety, environmental, and traffic concerns. Thank you very much.
Was it, maybe I'm missing something. I did not hear it. You can go ahead and answer. I did not hear anything about an auto repair shop. Is there a plan for an auto repair shop? Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify, because I had heard personal storage of your personal media. That was it.
Well, it would not be allowed in community commercial anyway.
Right, it's community commercial.
Exactly. And that community commercial does restrict the uses. Would a Dollar General fit in community?
No.
So you're concerned about a Dollar General, it would not be a Dollar General. Who else? I know somebody, yes ma'am.
Lynn Smith, I can empathize with the feelings of the neighborhood, but it really sounds like their problem is with the builder, not with the trails. It's an unfortunate situation, but if the builder had the intention to make this a community boat storage, then it was on him, not on people that now want to own that property to do this for them. So I understand their concerns and their unhappiness, but it is what it is. And if you've got a problem with your builder, don't take it out on the folks that are trying to do goodness in the community. It's go beat the builder up, not them.
And
Can I say one thing?
you already spoke, so I'm sorry. Was there somebody else that had not spoken? Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Who wanted to ask a question? No, you already spoke too, sir. Yes, sir, you can come up. Yes, there will be, this is only the first reading, so. And we're gonna do the zoning. We're gonna do zoning.
You'll have a chance to talk in a couple
We'll be here. Go ahead.
Yeah, we probably all could have spoke on the next topic, right, Ron? Maybe I should just wait until that topic.
Go ahead.
Joshua Griffin, I live on Primrose, way past the subdivision. I'm not part of the HOA. I've been there over 15 years, probably longer than most of these people here. I've been in the Cook Bayou community since the 90s, so well established in the community. That being said, I lived there before all the homes were built. Now, this plat that we have here, does it also show and record the other entrances to the subdivision that was approved? Because
this is just 1A, it's the truck park.
Perhaps
There's several pages.
perhaps the next plat does. We have intention, right? Access to the community. And we have, hey, boat storage. That's what it says, granted. No problem with that. To you, sir, yeah, we're neighbors. No problem with having personal things, growth. It would be great to have a marina. It would be great if that all came to fruition for the community, like with the church development presentation that was here tonight. I'm fine with all that. But we have to make preparations before those things take place. And commissioners, Ms. Mayor, Commissioner Peltier especially, thank you so much for the initial improvements that you've made in repairing the roads that we have. Albeit elementary repairs, so to speak, initial, right, Mr. Cook, we talked about. There is a lot of work that has to take place because we can never afford as a community, as a city, to put in a brick paver road. But to maintain it, oh my goodness, what a whole other story. All we've done is put blacktop to fill the holes. This is atrocious, but we got rid of the holes and we're not damaging our tires. All of that brings us to the current topic of commercially zoned property, even though it's not as platted as boat storage. Intention, is this a moot point now? Is the whole development order that was approved in 2006-07, is it a moot point because it's no more? Where do we go from here? Again, I don't, like has been said, okay, a building, fine. I have buildings. But having the infrastructure in place to support said, just like the rest of the intent for the whole development, would have supported that. And right now in our present circumstances, it does not. You know, if there was a multi-story family building gonna go in, who would be required to bring the infrastructure in place to support it? That will be the case.
Sorry, sir, your time is up. Is there anybody else that hasn't spoken?
I have a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir, you
Can I
spoke.
ask a question?
Really not, I mean, I can't let everybody talk twice, we're already into a lot of time now. We'll talk about the zoning next, so you can speak again when we talk about zoning, will that help? Is there anybody that hasn't spoken on this item that wants to speak? Did you raise your hand?
No, I'm
I'm sorry. Not seeing anybody. Would someone up here like to make a motion or further discuss up here?
I can make a motion to approve ordinance number 1124, small scale comp plan amendment, 1023 Primrose Street, parcel ID 07384-277-000, first reading.
Motion, do we have a second?
And included would have to be in that land use for commercial.
Well, that's
It's all part of the
That's the next one.
well, the
No,
land
that's-
use of commercial is the ordinance.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
it's
is-
part of the 1124.
yeah.
That's land use.
So,
And
you
we-
seconding?
I'll second.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
First reading.
This is the first reading, so if this passes, then we'll come back at the next meeting.
In the meantime, Ashley can provide us with the petitions.
Yes. Okay, if there's no further discussion, go ahead, City Clerk.
Commissioner Griggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelletier,
No,
Commissioner Ayers,
Yes.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes. Okay, we move on to item number 2, which is the rezoning of that same parcel to retirement.
This is a first reading of ordinance number 1125, an ordinance rezoning from undesignated to community commercial. A certain parcel of land lying within the city of Callaway, Florida, consisting of approximately 2.71 acres more or less. Said parcel is located at 1023 Primrose Street, Callaway, Florida. Parcel ID 07384-277-000. All is more particularly described in the body of the ordinance, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing that this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon passage.
City Manager.
Mr. Fry, please provide a definition also of community commercial.
So community commercial is defined by section 15.550 of our land development regulations. Anybody wants to look up that on our cityofcallaway.com. It does allow for several uses. It is the least intense commercial designation that the city of Callaway has. I was asked if there's a possibility of doing a residential some kind of way with a variance, but it would require too many variances, too many things. It really needs to be a commercial designation. The closest thing to an automotive repair shop, whether it be boat, antique cars, new vehicles, whatever, would be number 4, automotive accessory, tire and battery shop, in parentheses, new product at retail only. So that's basically a little store that would sell batteries and whatnots for vehicles. In no way is Mr. Trail or anyone who buys this property in the future going to be able to do automotive repair and start advertising for, hey, bring me your car, your boat, your RV, we're gonna work on it here. We're just not gonna be allowed to do it in this zoning designation. So I highly doubt we're gonna change the city of Callaway, no matter who's up here, to anything more intense than community commercial in that neighborhood. Does that answer the question?
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Conrad?
Yeah, well, community commercial, and what is of interest here, if it's boat storage or storage, I guess, is, is there any way to define that outside of it? Because, you know, when we did all this, we didn't know all the.
Right, and I wouldn't let it get past me to annex property into the city of Callaway without giving it a zoning designation and a future land use. So we don't have to worry about that happening anymore. But I would think intent would come into effect when it states that this is boat storage. I think that it would also include vehicle storage, including RVs, recreational campers, etc. Anything that is, you know, once again, probably a violation of their HOA regulations. Don't park it in the front yard, go ahead and park it in the boat storage, which would include RVs, etc.
But see, unfortunately, and this goes back into the problem of the HOA has no power over this property because it is outside outside of the development. Since they sold it to be outside the development. So the HOA, you know, in many cases, we say you can't have you know, 2 RVs in your yard, but in this particular case, they can't.
Yeah. Well,
because, well, go ahead.
Well, the city of Callaway doesn't enforce HOA home covenants or anything like that. So I'm not aware of what their HOA encompasses. I'm not sure where their limits are. I don't know whether it includes this property or not. But if it doesn't, then obviously they have no jurisdiction. But even if it does, I'm not sure what they have on the books.
Well, the only jurisdiction they would have that I can see is they could tell the property owners, you cannot park your boat here. You will have to park it in the designated area which owns this gentleman owns.
Or somewhere that would be the most convenient.
Right.
Commissioner, it'd have to be in the covenants of the HOA. This is documented in the HOA.
Right.
It would have to be in there.
And the HOA would have to own the property.
Which we have nothing to do with. Code enforcement has nothing to do with that. You know.
So the least that we can do is actually community commercial, and that will stop all the other concerns.
Community commercial is also going to require buffering and other conditions that will be addressed at the development order process?
Because he will be going in a development order. He's already, at least in his document, his information to us, committed to fencing and this type of thing, so.
Right.
Both.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Fry?
How big's the buffer? 15 feet?
At least 5, no more than 8 feet tall.
I mean, the difference,
just
like edge of the property.
the center of the buffer.
Buffer.
Just around the perimeter.
How much?
How many feet of
How
buffer?
many feet?
It's gonna be anything between commercial and residentially zoned properties.
How many feet?
From the property line, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so like a 10-foot
It could be
buffer.
right on the property line. A fence could be,
Bay County's got like a 15-foot buffer, and I think we have a 4.
Not the fence, it's like a buffer, like a landscape buffer or whatever.
no, there's no required width or thickness of the buffer.
So you do a fence or you do tree line or something.
Yeah, I would recommend white vinyl. That looks the best. It's very easy to maintain. Looks good.
Anyone else have anything for Mr. Fry? Thank you. Okay, who wants to speak about, anybody that had questions, you can come up and you can speak on this now.
Just a couple of things.
No, sir, I need you to get to the microphone, please. So that the records.
I'm Matt Fuller, 11533 Coastal Road. So for profit motive, we're going to disrupt 50, 60 homes, single family dwellings. Now, the other thing, if this were to be allowed, who's going to police the hour of operation? They're going to have forklifts, occasionally pick up stuff and all that, driving up. People's houses are right by this property. And speculate for one person's profit motive, for all these residents that invested all their money in their homes, this is a bad idea. You got a chance, you got the power to rezone this property or not. And, you look at the one street there, I can't think of that spot zoning, and this was years ago. And orderly growth in the neighborhood is very important. The people have invested their money, their hard-earned money, and this is it, for someone to have a profit motive to affect all of that. Also, with this zoning, put in a marijuana shop, you know that? They can put in a laundromat and 40-something other things. So, you have the authority not to rezone this property. We'd appreciate it if you would not rezone it. Thank you.
Mr. Fry? Could you put in a marijuana shop? Or a water line?
Put a laundry
Yeah, medical or dental clinic would be one of them. I don't see right off, let me make sure where a pharmacy would be allowed. I mean, the closest thing to pharmacy would be medical or dental clinic. So whether a pharmacy would be allowed in that designation, I believe that would be a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But Florida law states anywhere we allow a pharmacy, we also have to allow a medical marijuana dispensary because it's considered medicine. So in this particular zoning there, I'm gonna say no.
How about laundry?
A laundromat is one of the allowable uses.
Okay.
And there are several others listed on here that, like a delicatessen, beauty shop, book and magazine, gift shop, furniture store. These are things that would be allowed, but somebody will put it in there and fail as a business.
Who else wanted to? Ms. Langston?
Teresa Langston, 6031 Main Street. I just want to clarify that according to this, there could be a drugstore including drive-through facilities unless provided elsewhere in the historical. So yeah, there can be a drugstore, floral shop, food store, furniture store, gift shop, hardware store. So they can have a drugstore.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Martin Foster, 6303 Wallace Road. Obviously I was one who came up here, petitioned for allowance to store my motorhome on my property. It would have been nice if there was somewhere to store it other than that without me having to go into a lot of debt. That's a side caveat to what I'm about to say. There's a lot of people up here talking about their investment of their house and that they bought a house in this area. And the same people that are saying that say that it's wrong for the gentleman that wants to have some antiques and boat store there. They're saying that it's bad for no investment. So to me, if it's considering me, if I want to invest it in my house, I'm not going to complain about somebody wanting an investment to make an area to store one of those items that I might add, kind of like a conflict of interest to say that you bought your house for money. Don't ever hire me for financial planning because I have no clue about money-wise stuff. But I'm just saying, from a standpoint of if you buy a house as an investment, which to almost everybody, the majority of money is going to go with your house. Speaking from experience too, I'm not going to sit here and complain that somebody else wants to have their investment, that their property also stores boats and antique cars or something. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Who else? Yes, sir.
For Lloyd Hildreth, 11923 Poston Road, the white buffer fence, plastic white buffer fence that we're talking about is not allowed under the homeowners association rules for all the houses surrounding two sides of this piece of property. Another thing, it says boat storage on this plat. Is that commercial boat storage or is it individual boat storage? And the map I gave y'all shows it is not commercial. I don't think the intent here was to have a commercial boat storage lot. The intent was to give the East Bay community back 9, 10, 12 years ago a place to park their boats for free, which did not require commercial zoning. It was part of being in that community. It was that was to be common property for that community. It was not deemed commercial boat storage. That's where the whole confusion is here. We don't know the intent because it doesn't say the intent on this. What I gave y'all is the original plan, and it does not show it red commercial property on that plan. It shows red commercial property all over the East Bay community, but it's not shown, that particular lot is not shown in red. So y'all need to consider that when you put something commercial in the middle of over 150 residential homes. And like I said before, I don't mind the storage building for antique cars. That doesn't bother me at all. But down the road, Mr. Trails, about 3 years ago, built one of these buildings on his property, which didn't have siding on it for over 2 years, with car lifts in it. I know he's going to do a better building here, but what's going to happen to that property when he decides, he just built this one 3 years ago. What's going to happen 3 years from now when he leaves this? And we have who knows what going on with that property because y'all deemed it commercial. It was never intended to be commercial. And you can see that on that map that I gave y'all. Thank you, Lottie.
Yes, sir.
But when they sold it,
That's where the problem came
Yeah,
from.
so-
When they planted it, if the developer intended that, they would have dedicated boat storage to the HOA.
Right.
They did.
The only thing they dedicated to the HOA were the alleys. And
Even if they dedicated it to the HOA, it would have had to be zoned.
Yeah, well,
What would the zone?
no, it would have been owned by, when they dedicated, it would have been owned by the HOA.
It would have been owned by,
It should
yeah,
have
but still,
been-
it still had to be brought in as a designation.
No.
I mean, it always, that doesn't, it always should have been, it just wasn't, but like on the plat, you make dedications. So, the city took the roads, streets, and right of ways. The HOA took the alleys. And then they kind of split up the easements and stormwater. But that and anything listed as undesignated was retained by the developer.
And that particular spot, been part of the HOA, and it would have been brought in, what would the zoning have had to have been?
It would have been part of the PD zoning, I'm sure there was.
Just part of the PD zone.
But, whenever they did PD zoning, they carved it out, right, because they restarted it, so.
It'd be common, just like the park,
Right, correct. And the HOA would control it, but when they did the zoning, because they did come and zone most of the neighborhood as planned development. They just carved those parcels out. I can't read their minds, but I just sell them off in the future.
That's it, when they sold this, it
When they
wasn't part of
sold
the
it, they lost
HOA.
control.
That's right. Go ahead, sir.
Joshua Griffin, 1538 Primrose Lane. What merit does the plat hold that when it says boat storage? Can it be changed from boat storage?
The owner or owners would have to come to a plat with the city for a replat.
Okay.
So they'd have to go through the whole process of replatting the property. You'd have to get depends how much of it you want to replat. If there's several lots and then every owner that wants to be affected by it would have to apply and agree to a replat.
Okay. So if it's platted as boat storage, regardless of zoning, where does that take us into the zoning discussion?
That's kind of what we explained earlier, that it kind of ties our hands, that we need to fit. Right now it's undesignated, it should have never been undesignated, so we could fit something in there that makes sense for boat storage. Now, as far as, once the city does that, they're kind of out of it. I think if something else goes in there other than boat storage, I think certainly a neighbor or a group of neighbors can come after that and say, well, guys, that was planted as boat storage. Just like, this was supposed to be a boat ramp, or this was supposed to be this, and they didn't do it. You see those lawsuits all the time. But
So I think
that
that's
doesn't do
where
the city.
a lot of us are coming from, though, is what's next? What's the future beyond future use? So the only way it can change from boat storage if it's petitioned to be replatted, right?
Right, yeah, so this guy can come here and say, I want this to be 30 more lots, and I'm gonna do a replat of boat storage, East Bay, phase 1A, and then replat that into 40 lots. You could certainly come and do that.
So how much surety can we have that this stays boat storage? When you make your zoning decision, what surety can you give us that it stays
The
boat
city
storage?
can't give you surety about that. That would be between whoever's upset about it and that owner.
Okay, so then how does it stay boat storage though? Once you zone it commercial, what did you call it? Community commercial.
That's
How do we be sure it stays boat storage?
Yeah, but that'd be an argument that those people who think they're adversely affected would have against that owner. Because they said, look, it's owned, now it's owned commercial, it's community commercial, so what was intended here is allowed. But if somebody wants to limit it to strictly boat storage and boat storage only, that'd be between those people and the owner of the boat storage. It's separate, civil, not the city.
Yes, thank you.
Christina Bear, 11725 Poston Road. I want to start off again, novice, so not fully aware, but I also think it's a little disingenuous that when you're asked to define what community commercial is, it was, well, it's sort of this and whatever, and it was dependent on the residents to state what is allowed and what it could become. And as the previous speaker said, I think that's our biggest concern. Okay, it was sold to you as, plat of boat storage. Okay, we have an issue with the seller, but they did, and that's what it is, and that's what you bought it as. Cool. we'll leave it as that. The individual is able to park their boat on that land and we move forward. By rezoning it, allowing the opportunity of these other businesses to come in, yes, we can, what is the intent? But also we were told an intent and that's obviously not holding true. So what's to say that the intent now is just for storage, but it couldn't become one of those, a multitude of the other things that were stated in that community. I get it, it's not part of the HOA and everything, but my house, there's not even a sidewalk. I am right on that road. And as pointed out, what's to say someone else coming in and who's maintaining, who's overseeing that, those people not in the community. We take care of our community. Yes, we have some issues that we can work out internally, but these people have no ties to us. They would come in, go out, and leave. Whether or not it's a community commercial and it's only residents and then you, I don't know, charge them, something to consider. But right now we're having a conversation about rezoning and you were saying, well, if something if we rezone it and we allow it and down the road if someone has an issue, well, here's the meeting and we have an issue to even get to that point. Why would we allow it to go to that point to then have to come back and have discussion? You have 52 members of the community saying that we have an issue before it even gets to the point that we would have concerns and have to come back. Please listen to those concerns. I get it, it's an issue. It was bought as a plat of boats for boat storage. Cool, let the individual who bought it use it as their boat storage. To open it up further is not the intent. If we're trying to be fair, yeah, we're not on board with everything and the individual bought it and it was sold and I guess that's fair. Again, I don't know all those things, but that's the way you bought it. So treat it as that. Don't then try and change it into other things. So the intent, great, we can say what it is now, what's to say in a couple months or a couple years what it turns into. And then also, you mentioned if someone wants to do it and possibly fail, well, I don't want to have to go through months of construction, they fail, what does the building turn into? I don't want to have to go through that. Let's stop it now and not move forward. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
No, go ahead.
Joel Smith, 6422 Church Street. Interesting point here for me is that this property was on the market for, I didn't catch all the numbers, maybe 3 years. The community could have purchased this property and solidified its use for them to use their boat parking, amenities, or whatever. However, it seems like they were cavalier about this, and now that open real estate market has allowed an owner to buy it with the platted intent to sell that storage service, he doesn't really have a choice on any other zoning. And he's choosing the optimum zoning for the use. So, I don't know. It's interesting to me.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I hate repeated performances and appearances. William Troop 11733 Poston Road. Again, we talk about limiting to what the intent is. You know, we're going to go what the intent is. The intent is boat storage. So again, I'm no zoning expert, but tell me how an automotive repair facility, or automotive storage facility could wind up selling batteries, tires, and all these other things, which is a whole environmental and public safety nightmare, comports with boat storage. If you're going to make it boat storage, limit it to boat storage. Do not put a commercial automotive facility on the plat. Okay, that is not boat storage. And also, what are we going to do about like limiting of hours of traffic? What are we going to do about like, is there going to be lighting in this complex? It's going to interfere. We like the night sky, we like it, so we see the stars and everything. Is the place going to be lit up like a parking lot? Again, my neighbor, she made a great point. What's going to happen down the road if it changes? Are we going to have like other types of occupancies in there? And there's 40 different ones. I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And with regards to buying it, a lot of our residents are junior enlisted military people who don't have a lot of disposable income. And I don't know a lot of people in our neighborhood that come on $150,000 to buy a commercial property. Again, sorry, but it's the way it is. Our concern is simply that is we bought this house to be a residential community, not a commercial development. We don't want to live next to essentially a place that's going to be a commercial property with the inherent traffic, public safety, environmental, and other concerns. And what's going to happen at 5 o'clock when people pick up their boats, 5 o'clock in the morning? The neighbors are very close to that facility. They're going to be hearing people firing their bilge pumps, firing off the generators, pulling out the trucks. And you well know, a lot of you been out here, getting into our development is a nightmare. And you're putting boat trailers in there, you're putting a public safety hazard out there, you've got kids walking to school. That is a tight fit when you're driving all those trucks with trailers on there. I just ask you again, if you want to limit the boat storage by the letter of the law, you may have no choice in that. But where does an automotive repair facility and storage facility come into a boat storage? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's a boat storage. And what are you going to do to limit hours? What are you going to do to help with the traffic? What are you going to do with regards to widening the roads so people get in there? That's a tight fit. That's a tight turn to get into that facility. Are we going to have to expand the road there? Again, there's a lot more questions and answers. So I implore you, again, based on the behalf of the residents, protect our property interests, protect our safety. And thank you very much.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
It seems like we're getting a lot of embellishing on vehicles and traffic going through there, maintenance activities, fires, and all that happening. Once again, I checked with the local boat storage place, have over 100 some spots. They average about 2 vehicles a week coming in and picking up a boat. There's not forklifts out there, not maintenance going on boats. As far as the storage facility, I got a couple of vehicles, I pull in, I wash them, and I like keeping my elements like protecting. What could happen later down the road as far as commercial, nobody knows. I can't predict what's going to happen 20, 30 years down the road. Some of the folks that we're talking, they live in a commercial location. So what's going to happen there, They could very well sell it and be a drugstore or a marijuana shop or something there. Right on the corner of the main road, So I'm not looking at what's happening. I'm trying to get zoned for what I need down, for my personal vehicles. And I did spend more money for a lot. I would like to recoup some of the cost of those storage, done due diligence or research, hoping, that's what would happen. As far as the investment of community, everybody's house price and all, I got a vested interest in it. I own health properties out there. So I want to keep our community property values up high as well as everybody else. I think boat storage is a good opportunity for the community. There's definitely a need. You drive around the neighborhood and you see boats stored up driveways and people in their garages and all. That's fine, but I think if you have a place close by, people can actually use it and it's a good benefit for them. So, like I say, it's a lot of embellishing stuff going on from fire hazards, a big automotive, repair shop, Firestone. That's not the case. I bought the property that's undesignated zoning. I'm just trying to get a zoning for what I can use it for. As simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Not seeing anybody, it's back to us, gentlemen. So is there any more discussion, or would somebody like to make a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance number 1125, rezoning of 1023 Primrose Street, parcel ID 0734277-000, first reading.
Do we have a second?
Second for community commercial.
Yeah, that's. Yes, that's in the ordinance, so that is the motion, okay? So we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion, gentlemen? If not, city clerk?
Commissioner Pelletier,
No.
Commissioner Ayers,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Griggs,
Yes.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes. And this will come up at our meeting in 2 weeks for the second reading. Okay, we will go on to item number 3, resolution number 2523, annual meeting and holidays for 2026.
This is resolution 25-23. A resolution to adopt a meeting schedule for the regular meetings, workshops, and holidays of the City of Callaway Board of City Commissioners for the calendar year 2026, repealing all resolutions in conflict therewith and reciting an effective date.
Let's see, Clerk, do you want to take this one?
Ordinance 927 requires an adoption of a resolution reflecting the dates and times of all regular city meetings and city holidays. I know typically we only hold one meeting in November and December, but 2 meetings are both listed on there. For y'all to decide if y'all want to do 1 or 2.
I thought you emailed us. Nobody answered the email.
This is for next year. This is
for next year.
Yes, this is for next year.
I guess I should have been emailed.
This was actually something I had asked, I said, why are we already doing next year? Why are we doing it?
Yeah, we only do the next calendar year, not.
Yeah, it's like for some
No, we
reason,
don't do
we
it by
kind of
Christmas.
discussed it.
Right.
It's really confusing.
Yeah, we usually wait till November, December and decide, yep,
We always
we're
do.
only gonna have 1 meeting this month.
Now, this
I
year was
used
a
to
little
not let y'all-
different, just
I used
because.
to not let y'all get away with that, because I was leaving meetings all the time, and after that hurricane, we got a meeting.
Yeah. Not as much now.
Obviously, we're not gonna meet on the 24th, right?
Well, that's what, we always put both weeks on there, so if you guys.
I have no
you
problem
don't
with that,
want
we go ahead and
to
remove them
use
now, I think we're fine, if you wanna go
Well,
ahead
this
and
is
remove them.
2026.
I'm not doing it for next year.
Yeah, okay.
I'm okay if you wanna remove them now.
So in 2026, do we want to just go ahead and say 1 meeting in November and 1 meeting in December and remove
We've
it?
been doing that for 10 years now.
If we need one, we'll call a special,
That's
as opposed to waiting and calling.
So we're going to get rid of November 24th and December 22nd.
Y'all wanna go ahead and make a decision on each issue, that's what we're doing this? We have that, yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and do
Yeah,
that.
we'll do this and we'll cover.
We good, gentlemen? Did anybody in the audience want to comment on our meeting schedule?
Is there any other weirdness for next year?
No.
Yeah, bringing it up.
Well, I've asked out 22nd of December.
Yeah.
I've asked that out.
Yeah,
Is that November 24th too?
Yeah, November 24th and December 22nd.
Right. I've asked.
Now, when the election day will be, what will be an election day? That probably needs to be. Yeah, because what happened election in November?
I believe, let me,
I think the 3rd. Because it's usually on
It's Tuesday the 3rd, election day.
So the 10th will be the following week. So we'll be fine, it's a week later.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So nobody in the audience wanted to comment on this item, so would somebody like to make a motion to the effect of,
Motion to approve resolution number 2523, annual meetings and holidays for 2026 as amended.
we have a second?
Second. I was thinking Bob may go in at least second.
Mark, you want second?
Sounds good.
So, Terry, so we do have a motion and a second, so we do need a roll call, don't we, because it's a resolution, so city clerk?
Commissioner Ayers,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Griggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelletier,
Yes.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes.
Yes.
Can we do that now, or should we wait till the end of the?
You can do it at any point.
Do we want to go ahead and address this year's November and
I think we
December?
should on that subject.
November, y'all had decided last year's meeting when we did this, to
Right.
have it on the 18th.
Right.
Because the second Tuesday is already.
Okay,
Right.
so we're already having one meeting, we've already said
Correct.
one
That
meeting, what
was-
about December?
No, we did not speak on December.
So we've got 2 meetings showing in December, so we want to eliminate the second meeting in December?
What are the dates in December?
That is December 23rd.
Yeah. This eliminates the 23rd.
So would somebody like to make a motion to amend our current year?
Does it have to be voted on? It's just, you're just going to cancel it.
Do we need to make a motion? What should we?
Oh, yeah. We can bring it up next meeting.
You just email somebody, cancel it, you can cancel it.
Okay,
Yeah,
we just cancel, okay, we just need a motion.
We've already by email, at least in November, just agreed to one, which is the 18th.
Yeah, so we're good. We're just agreed.
Just cancel the 23rd.
We're canceling the second one in December. Okay. Okay, we will go on then to item number 4, resolution number 25-24, code enforcement liens for nuisance abatement.
Resolution 25-24, a resolution of the city of Callaway, Florida, approving amounts to be liened on certain properties within the city with 306 Southgate Avenue for costs incurred in the abatement of nuisances upon such properties, authorizing the appropriate officers of the city to record lien and notify interested parties of such lien, and providing an immediately effective date.
Okay. City manager.
We're just leaning the property that we had cleaned up. It's a mowing issue, small. And there was not an occupant, there's no heirs. So we're just making sure we keep it abated.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comment? Anybody in the audience want to comment on the lien for nuisance abatement? Not seeing anybody, someone like to make a motion? So, well, I'm just looking at anybody, nobody's saying anything.
Motion to approve resolution 25-24.
I was like, come on, Bob, you all over the league. We're the league king over there, right? I call it count on that.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, city clerk?
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelletier.
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes. Okay, item number 5. Development order application, renovation, construction of water spigot, 5806, Highway 22, Callaway, Florida.
Mr. Fry.
All right, so the next 2 items are good things, well within their zoning designations. The water spigot is a very unique laboratory type situation on Highway 22. Not only do we use them to make sure that our potable water is drinkable and safe on a very regular basis, but so do a lot of other municipalities and water source providers in the area. Ms. Patricia came to me and said she would love to do some remodeling and renovations and all, and I said, well, unfortunately, we also have to bring you up to today's code. So she saved up some money and hired Mr. Ron Rogers over here to put her some engineering together. They got stormwater in place, which they had none of before, better access. Ron did check with FDOT to make sure that everything they're going to do doesn't affect the 4 lane that will eventually come. Landscaping out in front is going to look nice. If you have any questions, Ron or I will answer them the best we can.
Anybody have questions?
Joe, how are you here?
Yeah,
Same
the improvements.
Yeah, this will just be.
Make it better.
Make it nicer.
Just improve it.
Anybody in the audience want to comment on the renovation and reconstruction of water spigot? Since you're here, did you want to say anything? I'm not saying you have to. If you would like to, I want to give you the opportunity.
No, ma'am.
Okay? And I don't see anybody else that wants to speak either, so it's back to us. Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve development order, DO application, renovation / construction of water spigots, 5806 Highway 22, Callaway, Florida.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Move on to item number 6, development order application, Main Street Urgent Care, 532 North Tender Parkway.
Mr. Fry.
All right, so an urgent care, which some believe we are in need of in the Callaway area, is on the end of the Mexican restaurant right there. It's San Marcos. Right now, currently, where the building will be going, it is parking lot. And they're going, so no new impervious surface. The storm water is shared with the Mexican restaurant. It's all one big parcel, kind of goes into the back. There's also additional parkings over still back there. Mr. Scott Rutherford is here tonight to represent as the engineer of record. He did address cross-parcel access, which is kind of already there. Landscaping out in front of it, which is required by our overlay. It is in our overlay district. Like I said, the storm water is shared with the Mexican restaurant. They're actually decreasing the amount of impervious surface by just a touch. Because like I said, right now it's all parking lot. There's no stormwater issues there in the past. Don't anticipate any being in the future. It'll be a nice addition to Callaway.
Anybody have any?
Yeah, actually, I've got maybe an interesting comment on it. The planning board approved this, but it wasn't unanimous. And I have a little difficulty understanding this is kind of this is a no-brainer type of situation. What was the objection to us approving this, them approving?
There was no explanation as to why there was a vote for denial. I didn't even realize that there was one until after the meeting. And I was asked how come it wasn't unanimous, and I'm like, it wasn't? Because like you said, it was kind of a no-brainer. I was surprised that it wasn't unanimous, so I'm not sure.
I just, that's just surprising. And it's really concerning because this is, why would somebody not want this type of thing there? And that's concerning that, we depend on the planning board. It doesn't have to be unanimous in all this situation all the time, and I fully understand it. I mean, how many years was I on the planning board, vice chair and all that, but, some of the ones that actually approved, like this one, approved coming to us, there is a dissenting vote. I was just wondering if we could get, when these come up, we could get the other side of it, the other point of view, because it may make a difference on ours. I mean, what we had to do today on the first couple of items today, the planning board is actually voting to not approve it, all that business. Well, we know all the reasons why we had to approve it. And of course, we weren't unanimous, so we wanted to make sure we had that no vote in there. But I'd like to know, more from the planning board when they have somebody that's dissenting or somebody that's approving against the dissent. Maybe something that we should really consider, give a lot of weight to. So that's the reason I was bringing this up.
Everybody tipping toe around. I would suggest ask that question before this meeting.
Well,
you might get better answer.
No, bring it up. But we've actually had people on the planning board that, acted like they were the God's gift to engineering and knew more than all our engineers. And we don't need that type of situation. We need good advice. We need good advice coming back to us. Those are our citizens that are coming back to us. So,
Commissioner, this is not the first time the planning board has approved stuff that we disagreed with.
That's true.
And at the end of the day, the buck stops up here on this diocese. And, I don't know, I would hate to put the planning board member in a position where you got to explain your no vote. I don't need to explain my no vote to no one, and I don't think they should have to explain their no vote to anybody else. That's the way they're looking at it. It's up to us to do our homework before it comes to us. I understand we rely on the planning board, but they're there to further it out. At the end of the day, all of us are going to go look. All of us are going to look at it. I have a couple of questions on this project, and I think it's a great thing, I agree. But Bill, when you, San Marcos owns this property?
No, it's owned by, I believe it's an acronym.
Okay.
It's on the deed.
When you say parking lot, that's the paved area as you go into San Marcos? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
So.
It's gonna be kind of front and back.
Right.
And then there's an overspill even further back than that.
I was there today, I was looking at it.
There's a little personnel bridge.
Right.
In order to get them back there.
Yeah. We want the urgent care, I'm just asking the question.
Yes.
What is that gonna do with St. Marcos parking?
Nothing.
They're not have sufficient parking?
Right. They're not stealing parking spots from the restaurant.
Right.
They're adding additional parking. The parking calculations work.
Right.
Especially with the overflow.
Right, okay.
St. Marcos, I believe they require their employees to park back there to begin with.
Okay.
Like they should. And in the overlay district, it is encouraged and actually required for shared parking. So if for some reason somebody parks over in front of the restaurant and walks to the urgent care, it is not going to be a violation. Vice versa either. You know, they're in the overlay, shared parking is required. And it's all one property owner also.
Right.
One investment.
No, we need urgent care in Callaway.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's our. I was just curious because I went out there and all I could see is a slab.
Yeah.
And so they're meeting their parking requirements.
Correct.
Anybody else have anything for Mr. Fry? Commissioner Briggs, you did?
Good.
Okay. Did anybody in the audience want to comment on the development order for the urgent care? Not seeing anybody, would someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the development order for the Main Street Urgent Care, 532 North Tyndall Parkway.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 7, change order, FlexNet change order, Ice Bridge, city manager.
All right, none of y'all know what an ice bridge is, I'm now an expert. More than happy to let you know all about it. So we've been working with the SBA Tower Company to get the base station up to the FlexNet system, which is actually going to be installed this week, I believe. Our contract with Census does not require them to work with the tower company. And so we handle it internally. SBA has still a requirement that they want an ice bridge be installed to connect the base station to the tower itself. So we are unable to proceed with the installation without this ice bridge. Basically, you can't put the wire in the ground. You've got to hang it on something and they call it an ice bridge. Don't ask me why it's called an ice bridge. If somebody else out there knows better, I had to look it up and do a ton of research. But we have to have this ice bridge installed.
16,500.
Yeah.
The wire.
Let me go ahead and tell you something that was cheap compared to what I found online. We almost thought it was going to be anywhere from 25 to 27,000. Fortunately, the installer said it's not a big deal. He can do it. We just need to. They have to procure it. I can't procure it.
So is this year's budget or next year's budget?
You're in next year.
Next year. This year's done.
That's right, this year is next year.
That's right.
We're in October now.
Sorry. So we can pull this from a multitude of places. And of course, it can come from, it actually can come from water and sewer, and it can come from the half cent. We'll fit it in the best place possible.
So they didn't identify this as we were going through all this planning the last 2 years? So this all came up out of the clear blue sky that we gotta do this.
I can confirm that because I'm the one that drew the engineering plans up. It was thrown at me at the last minute.
Honestly, we don't have a choice in this matter because.
So we do not have a choice.
I understand that, but I just hate the idea that, again, we've been planning this for years, and now all of a sudden, we're getting ready to install, and this is sprung on us.
We had everything laid out and submitted to SBA, because SBA came back and said, look, we're going to have to file layout. And I worked with them on placement. We have to hand dig the power lines, they have to be hand dug, put it on. SBA is actually, I'm not gonna say they're difficult, I'm gonna say they're extremely thorough. And their head engineering guy came back and he said, this works great, but you're gonna have to have an ice bridge. And my question was, what's an ice bridge?
And how far are we, how far is this ice bridge? Is it
20 feet.
20 feet.
20 feet?
12 inches across, 20 foot long, hangs, gonna go 4 poles will be installed.
12 inches?
Across.
For $16,000.
If I could build it, I would build it myself, but unfortunately, it has to be certified.
That would be had in my book.
I was amazed when I went through and did everything. Either way, this came down and I mean, I'm sitting in a position where I can't do anything.
I understand we have to do it, but the contractor that we're buying the system from was not aware of this. So
their contract is not, it'll make them deal with dealing with their contractors inside of the fence. So all of their permissions actually have to come from the city. That's including the construction days, the inspections, even the code to get into the game. And the SBA will come out and
it's too far to stop it now.
I will tell you the base station at Sandy Creek is operational. When we do our and we do our next drive-by, we've reprogrammed the drive-by system so that when it's hitting the reads and all the meters out there, it will be flipping the switches so that it'll read both ways. And then that will then in turn, we started the reprogramming of all the meters to switch over to where you can do the drive-by read or the calorie read.
Are we gonna be doing both?
Both.
Is that what you're saying?
We'll have to make one pass.
All the time?
No, just once. We have to reprogram every meter.
I understand that, yeah.
And so we'll do that by driving by one time.
Okay.
We don't even technically have to.
We'll be doing drive-by after that.
We can do that. We know we'll drive by. Now, we'll probably drive by the city 4 or 5 times before we make it, but we'll do it. We will be driving by just to make sure everything's programmed over. And our first data is already starting to come in from out there. They're tailoring the files so we can do a complete switch over and go on.
Anybody have anything else to fear about the ice bridge?
Trust me, it killed me to have to come in there and ask you for it.
Did anybody in the audience want to comment on the ice bridge?
Everybody's Googling ice bridge right now.
Yeah.
I know you are. You're Googling ice bridge right now.
Would somebody right here like to make
Wait a
a
minute.
motion?
Bull.
Motion to approve LexNet change order ice bridge.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, you've got a motion.
Which two?
That's two.
Yeah, these second two.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we come to our last item, Commissioner Ward 1 vacancy. And I know we talked about each of us asking like up to 2 questions with the permission of the commission. And if you don't want to do this, I was thinking we can take the people alphabetically. So we have an order. Maybe let each person have 2 or 3 minutes to say why they would be the best candidate for the position. And then we go to our questions. Each person can ask up to 2 questions. Is that agreeable to everybody?
Good.
Okay. Okay, so our first candidate is Mr. Bobby Birdsall.
Mr. Birdsell, if you will come up and tell us why you think you're the best person for the position.
Good evening, ma'am, gentlemen. Bobby Birdsell. I do live at 6221 Imperial Drive. I've been involved in the community, retired military, moved here in 2015. I've been involved ever since. The Callaway community, I saw on my resume I submitted, so I won't bore you with all the details over and over again. One of the reasons I think I would be the best candidate is I am young still, and no offense to any of the other candidates, but the problems that you had from 2006, that commission is gone now. So I would be someone that would still be allowed, or that would still be around the commission in, 20 years to still look back and say, hey, I had a decision of that. It's my fault. I can take blame for whatever that problem might be. Again, I have been involved completely in the community. I work as a paramedic part-time with the county. I mostly, when I pick up whatever stations I want. I'm only at the Callaway station, still serving our community, as opposed to all the other places. Again, they do make me go to those places, but I do prefer to stay in the Callaway district whenever I can. Mayor Henderson might have seen me occasionally. I like to run. I run around our community all the time. I'm training for marathon. I'm the guy without a shirt all the time running around. But I am here for the long haul. My kid goes to Rutherford. The others are from Callaway. My other two are adults doing whatever it is that adult children do nowadays. But I am here. I'm very committed, and I just want to make a better difference. I like seeing the improvements that we already have going on. We're fixing roads. We're putting up street lights. We are repairing the old downtown park, not downtown, but the desolated parks, things like that. And I just want to be a part of that in seeing Callaway grow, especially with the way Tyndall is building, and within the next, 5 to 10 years. We're going to have so many residents, and I just want to have a connection with that.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll let Commissioner Griggs, you want to go ahead and ask your question or questions?
I did 2 questions.
Sure, you have 2 questions.
3 minutes each.
Okay.
That's the joke. You'll get
I actually have a first question. It's going to be a combination question. I'm going to ask you two things within that combination question. Have you read the goals of our city? And second part of that, have you read our charter, and do you have general understanding of what your responsibilities would be?
I cannot say that I've actually read them, no, sir.
Anything else, Commissioner?
You indicated longevity, so I would imagine that what you mean is that if you are appointed, that you will run for office, you will run for the office.
Yes, sir, when the time comes next year, yes, sir. Whether y'all select me or not tonight, my goal was to campaign and run for it next year regardless.
Okay. That's all I've got.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Won't be tricky. No quick questions. Okay, based on your understanding of city government, what do you see as a top priority for our city and why?
For me, it's going to be improvements that we're already working on, but a better emphasis on the infrastructure, widening of the roads, safety with lighting, working better with the county to get better emergency services located here, not against the fire department, but like our better EMS based more in Callaway specifically. And it's mostly a safety thing. Again, like I said, I'm running all the time. I run down these roads, our sidewalks are busted. There's no street lights on some of the roads, and it just becomes a hazard. I've worked a lot of incidents up and down the roads, and I would just like to see a lot more safety going into our community.
Okay. I have 6 or 7 questions, so I got to tone it down. Now, what motivated you to apply for this position, and is there something specific you hope to accomplish during your time?
I wanted to run for a position like this for numerous years, but being active duty, I was not able to hold such a position. And when the position came open recently, I retired back in 23, so the position finally came open. And I wanted to just give back to my community and be completely involved with Callaway instead of just some generic other thing. I do a lot of volunteer and other things, but this is very centric to our community and helping it grow.
Hi, Mr. Burzell. How you doing?
Yes, sir.
I looked over your resume. It's really thorough. Your education, you have a BA in organizational management.
Yes, sir. Actually, that will confer in December.
Okay. And that's from University of Arizona?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. And you're also in EMS?
Yes, sir.
You went through Gulf Coast State College? Great. You also avionics system tech?
Retired, but yes, sir.
Yeah. All those things are require high intelligence and a lot of dedication, and I really appreciate your service to our country and the things you've done. You're a licensed pilot with instructor certification?
No, sir. I'm working on my commercial at this time.
Okay. Okay, but you are a pilot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. And do you work for Bay County EMS?
Yes, sir. I'm a part-time paramedic with the county.
Okay.
Mayor, I don't want to cut the commissioner off, but there's two questions.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I didn't realize those were questions.
I realize we've read all that, so we have all that information,
Yeah.
so.
Well, you're not the only ones. We have an audience out there and we're on the internet. So it's nice to maybe recap some of that.
That's good. You're correct. Thank you.
Right. I'll do.
I really didn't have questions. Let me have two of yours. I will have two of yours.
I typed it.
Okay. Members of the commission are frequently criticized in a very public way. If you are the subject of public criticism, how would you respond?
I don't let a lot of things bother me. I've tried to put myself in a position so I'm not criticized. If I do get criticized for something, I would plan on owning whatever my mistakes are, and not try to hide from whatever that may be.
We can promise you will be criticized. At some point, you will be criticized.
You will be
It
criticized?
just, it goes with the position.
Especially when you run for office.
Yes.
I can't please everybody, so somebody will get upset.
You saw that tonight.
Yes.
And how would you ensure that the needs of all citizens, including different neighborhoods and demographic groups, are represented?
Even going back to Commissioner Griggs, like campaigning is not just something I do in my own little tiny ward. Let's go out, meet, greet, talk to all the different people throughout the entire community of Callaway, and find out what their actual needs are, being able to bring it before the rest of the commission and the city to actually hear what their needs are, not just my one little segment of whatever's going on.
Okay, I think we're good. We good? Okay, thank you so much. I'll let you have a seat and
Thank you,
we'll
Madam Chairman.
get our next candidate up. That would be Ms. Karen Custer. I'm not sure I want to after that. If you want to just go ahead and take a couple minutes and tell us why you think you're the best person for the position.
Well, I'd rather not say why I think I'm the best person. I wouldn't mind saying why I think I'm a good person to select for the job, if you don't mind.
Okay, however you want to respond.
If I could tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up with a father who was a Marine, and so he acted like we were little Marine kids. So that's how I started out. He was an Ayn Rand fan, and he trained us to be like the independent man. But then my mom was a cheerleader and a secretary, so she wanted me to go to finishing school and marry a rich man to take care of me. Instead of doing that, I graduated from engineering school so I could take care of myself. That way they were both satisfied. I met my husband about 20 years ago, and we were married. We lived in Alaska for 18 years since we've been married until we moved here. We got tired of having bosses, so we became realtors and general contractors. So instead of working 40 hours a week, we worked 70 hours a week. But we worked for ourselves. And then we finally burned out, sold everything, and moved to Panama City because it doesn't snow here until this year. The reason why I'm interested in serving on the commission is I've been coming to commission meetings for over 3 years now. I met you, Mayor Henderson, first on October 1st, 3 years ago at a dedication of a Habitat house. And the first time I actually talked to you was at Regent Banks on 23rd Street when they had a grand opening. I've seen you at the senior center when I gave copies of Bay County Coastal newspaper, which I do, just for the community. I saw you at lots of lunch meetings at Rodeos and Gary's Oyster Shack. That's where I first met Eddie Cook, was at one of the lunch meetings at Gary's Oyster Shack during the election when Commissioner Pelletier and Commissioner Ayers were running for re-election. I came to commission meetings. I talked to our city manager about needing some pothole repairs, which were done right away, to help with the cock-a-doodle-doo problem at 5:30 in the morning, which that got taken care of pretty quick. And I've been to meetings when we talked about speed bumps, boats in the front yards, the budgets, taking care of the outbuilding at Tyndall and Cherry, buying land. I've been involved, I feel like I've been involved with the commission for 3 years. I've been lots of the places where you've been. I've been also, when you were at the Historical Society, Commissioner Briggs was there, Commissioner Ayers was there. He shared Garden Delights with us at one of those from his own garden. I've seen Commissioner Ayers at First Friday. Commissioner Pelletier and the mayor at NAACP meetings, and Commissioner Pelletier at lectures around town. So that's kind of a bit about me and my background, how I feel like I've already been involved with a lot of things that you do, and I understand what goes on in the commission meetings because I've been to a lot of them. Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Briggs.
Well, to be consistent, I have to ask the same question. But I think I'm going to ask it a slightly different way, because the goals that we're required, or should be required, to work toward as a commissioner, and here again they're posted, and we've agreed to them, and they're all out there. Apparently, not everybody has read those goals. So before I ask the question, I'm going to read you the goals. And there are only 3 that encompass what our responsibilities are.
Promote economic development and education. Quality municipal service, ensure public safety, improve the quality of life.
Right.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, I read them I said them for you. I did read them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read them so everybody knows what we're talking about. The mission of the government of the city of Callaway is to meet the demands of growth and development by promoting economic development, education, while providing service at an affordable cost. Second item is partner with community for safety and security. And the last one is to serve its citizens by providing a quality of life for its residents and visitors that is attractive and inviting. And if we believe in those goals as commissioners, it takes away a lot of the personal side that we may have. Bringing that up that way, because we've had people that say, well, I just don't want any more people in here, but I want a restaurant, that kind of thing. Well, you've got to look at these goals and not what your personal opinions may be or what your personal directives may be. There's one issue as it relates to you personally. And so my second question would be, you're just totally involved with so many organizations, including, as you put in there, and you're about to smile because the next one I'll be bringing up is the John Birch Society and some of the other ones that you've chosen to join. It's not a matter of visitation and understanding religions and that kind of thing. As a commissioner, many of those things have to be set aside. You have to make decisions in guidance with the goals and the charter. So my question to you is, do you think you can set aside some of those concepts that are in the organizations that you belong to?
One way to answer that is I've been involved in a lot of things, and so I have actually a lot of different points of view from lots of different people. So yes, you mentioned John Birch Society. They're really pro-constitutional. And so keeping in mind that things need to be constitutional, I don't, that doesn't conflict with anything. You wouldn't do anything that's unconstitutional or illegal. And the same thing, I'm involved in the Republican Liberty Caucus, but we invite members from all political parties so that, it's not like I also have interviewed people from all the parties and have invited them to join that group. I've been to lots of League of Women Voters meetings, and I don't agree with their point of view on a lot of things, but I go anyway because I want to know their point of view. And all those things feed into me and give me, a different way to evaluate things just based on what they are. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, it does. And thank you for that.
You're welcome. Okay.
I'm going to ask identical same questions. Obviously, you know what's going on in our city. If you've been to all of our meetings. So, what do you see as our top priorities in our city and why? What would be your top priorities on sitting up here in the diocese?
The thing that I guess I'm really interested in is I've heard so many things from citizens in the community that, criticisms, complaints, things like that. And I've been to some of their meetings just as a citizen listening to what they have to say. And I don't really get involved in the discussions because I just go here and take information and see if I can help people. And I think I would want to continue to help the citizens of Callaway any way that I can. We've been guardians ad litem, mentors, just involved in lots of things with the goal of if I see something, I try to fix it. And so I would still like to be someone that people can talk to and to see if I can do anything to help improve and, with the input coming from the community.
I already know what motivated you. I guess I'll ask the same question. Obviously, we know what motivates you, but what are some specifics you hope to accomplish during your time in office? Knowing, of course, you have about 11 months before you start, 10 months before you, or maybe 7 months before you start your campaign if you're going to rerun for office. And as we all know up here, since we changed the voting dates, a $2,000 campaign now is going to be about $17,000. So things are going to be changing. But what do you expect to accomplish at least within that 1 year?
I don't have specific agenda that I want to accomplish. I didn't expect to be, going into a position as a commissioner. So I don't have something in particular I want to do. I do want to listen to the community. I want to learn a lot from you because you've actually sat in those chairs, and then make the best decisions I can on the things that come up in our agenda, rather than just accomplish specific things.
Thank you.
You have a BS in chemical engineering?
That's correct.
From University of Tulsa. What does an oil process engineer do?
A what?
It says you were an oil process engineer. Was that correct?
No, I'm a process engineer. I worked in the oil industry, the chemical industry, oil fields.
What does that mean?
I designed refineries and chemical plants, designed equipment, designed the process, modeled the process, checked everything to make sure it was safe, filled out data sheets so that our instrument people could buy instrumentation and all of that.
Have leadership positions?
Yes, I was a principal engineer in a $4 billion company.
Okay, cool. And it says you're a realtor in Alaska. Are you from Alaska?
No, actually, I'm from Philadelphia, but I met my husband. I went to work in Alaska at one of the refineries, and we were married there, and that's how I ended up in Alaska.
Okay, thank you.
I have basically one question. I mean, we're in social media days and people do things and it's out there in the open. I know a few months back there were some issues and you actually were part of a committee that was looking to recall one of the city commissioners. Would you have an issue, since that didn't happen and that commissioner is still a city commissioner, would you be able to work with that commissioner? Would there be any issues with you working with that commissioner that you were hoping to have recalled?
Well, if I could take a step back, I wasn't actually part of the committee. I went to the meetings to try to see what advice they needed, to see if they needed help. But I did go to the meetings. I guess it looked like I was part of the committee.
Well, and I had been told that you were the one kind of putting it together.
Okay. I do not have a problem with Commissioner Ayers.
Okay.
The things that I stated at a commission meeting, I said what needed to be said. I was hoping that at that point, Commissioner Ayers would understand what people thought and that he would, he'd be okay in the future. That all those things that different people said, about him or he said or whatever, all that stuff. I wasn't involved in that stuff, but that maybe they could stop what they did and he could stop responding to them. I was really just trying to help by naming the problem, and that way the other people felt like somebody named it. They could come forward, they could say what they had to say, and then possibly it could stop. So now I could work with him. I saw him at lots of things around town. I talked to him. I saw him at the Trump dinner. I don't think we'd have
Republican Party, yeah.
right, the Trump dinner. So I don't think we'd have a problem with that.
And I guess my last question, just like I asked the other gentleman, because if you're in this position, sooner or later you're going to be criticized. How would you handle that?
Well, like I opened, my father was a Marine, and I got yelled at the whole time I was growing up, and you learn that when you get yelled at,
to ask them, did you have a fight with your wife? I've done things like that. I've just been yelled at so many times that it's like, okay, it throws up my back. Can they calm down? Can we figure this out in the future? What can I do to help? Sometimes they just don't understand what I said. I don't understand what they said. And hopefully we can make it go away. Plus, I was an engineer working with project managers, being over the head for 30 years. So I think I managed to not have any fights with them. So I think I'll be okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and now our last candidate, Mr. Ralph Swangler. Go ahead and take your couple minutes to.
Hello, good evening. I'm Ralph Swindler, 240 HL 7th Circle. Nice to meet Madam Mayor, the rest of the council members. You've all seen my resume. I've lived in Callaway since 1994. I've actually lived in 2 residences here. I lived down in Callaway Point for the first 6.5 years that I've been here. Then I moved to HL 7th, where I currently live, on the big pink house. Y'all know where that's at. I'm retired Air Force out at Tyndall. I was active duty for the first 7 years, and then I went to AGR, which was here at Tyndall. So basically, I've been at Tyndall for almost 30 years in one capacity or another. I'm currently a DoD contractor. I process military members, dependents, civilian employees, when they're going traveling. I book their flights, I book their hotels. Heck, if we've got people coming here to Tyndall, I always try to make sure that I put them at the Holiday Inn or the Comfort Suites because I know that it's close to the base. Like I said, I've been here since 1994. I'm interested in being more active within the community. I've kind of viewed stuff from a periphery before. Now I'm trying to get a little more involved activity-wise. Can't always speak that well. I know a few months ago there was a planning board position that I applied for. Kind of got, didn't understand the process. One of the other members that applicants, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, did you know that you're supposed to attend the meeting?" I didn't realize that. That's foul on my part for not following up. And since then, I've been a little bit more involved. You've seen me the last 7 meetings. I've actually spoke with Mr. Cook previously, even finding out about this commission spot being open. Trying to open up my entrepreneurial spirit and trying to figure out, hey, Tyndall's going to explode here in a couple of years, if not already. There's nothing for the airmen to do on this side of town. Is there something we can bring to Callaway? And so I've been kind of thinking, racking my brain over that. I'm getting close to where I have to make a career decision if I'm going to stay in my job or, retire or open up another business. That's pretty much myself in a nutshell.
Okay. Commissioner Williams? Did you go through?
One of the things that has happened in Callaway in the last, I'm going to say at least the last 8 years or so, or 7 years, is that where we've had, let's say, some crime issues and other things in the city, we have in the last 6, 7 years had an outstanding public service group for that. It's called our Sheriff's Department, Bay County Sheriff's Department. They've done so much internally, things that we can't even bring up. But we're in an entirely different position than we were years ago with respect to our citizens and respect to the various things that were going on. what is your feeling toward the sheriff's department?
I can remember, I think when I first moved here, Callaway still had a police department. And I vaguely remember budget constraints, and they went the route of using the Bay County Sheriff's Office as law enforcement. And ever since that point, I've seen no problem with that. I've actually had a friend who's on the Sheriff's Department. I've worked with him. He was auxiliary with the Guard, then he came on full-time, and then when he retired, he went back to the Sheriff's Department. So they're wonderful people.
Well, one of the reasons I'm bringing this up related to you is that, you know, those wonderful things out there, all those wonderful sites that are out there that people put all kinds of comments on and everything else. At one time, I understand, I'm not going to give the specifics, but I understand that you have a problem with the Sheriff's Department that you actually posted online.
I do not recall ever posting anything negative about the Sheriff's Department.
Okay. And obvious question, have you read the goals? Have you read the charter?
I read the charter, I read the goals. I'll be honest, I forgot the goals, but I did read the charter, and I was going to myself, oh my gosh, this is a lot of information. And then I'd have to read it again, and probably a third and fourth time.
Okay, now, I am going to take the opportunity to explain this, that one of the reasons I'm asking, well, the major reason I'm asking those questions is because we are restricted on what we can do. We've made decisions. We've made decisions recently that have been against what we're personally responsible for, but we are legally responsible for at least keeping city. You got cities around us that are in constant legal battles for one reason or another. We avoid that by at least doing what is legal. Not what we want all the time. Not what we want as relates to several things. I'll bring up RVs for one thing, but, you know, our personal opinions. Anyway, you've answered my question.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Back to my same questions. I'd like to know what motivated you to apply and what you're specifically wanting to accomplish during your time.
I was motivated when I saw the opportunity. I'm going, hey, this is an opportunity for me to get back to the place I've lived for pretty much 30 years. Like I said, kind of observing the periphery, saw this as an opportunity to become more involved. The one thing that, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I know Tyndall is going to explode, and Callaway's poised in a really good position to not only work hand in hand with Tyndall, but, you know, to benefit from that with, you know, opportunities for entertainment for, you know, because I actually spoke with a master sergeant. He and his family moved on base, and we were talking with him, and he goes, yeah, anything to do, we have to go into town, that could be 30 minutes come from on base. And we're talking, you know, movie theaters or whatever. I mean, it'd be so nice if we had a movie theater this side instead of having to go out to 23rd Street. It'd be nice to have some sort of engagement zone for young people, like, I'm not talking bars or anything like that, but, you know, like laser tag, place to do putt-putt, some sort of recreation. That's kind of what my motivating factor is.
For those of us who've been around, we've tried the theater route. That's a dead issue. And what would be your top priorities for the rest of the time on the commission? What would you think your top priorities would be?
Making sure that projects that are planned are completed on time. For instance, I know we're doing a roundabout on Bertha. I know we're getting ready to get Cherry Street going. trying to get those projects done with as little disruption in the lives of average Callaway citizens. Because I know when the Bertha Bridge was down, that was a big issue, especially on where I live and how I would go to Tyndall. It was either, go down to Gay and over, or go all the way down Cherry Street and go down out to base instead of taking a little back way to Bertha and down Boatwoods. So that would be my biggest issue to make sure it's resolved.
Thank you.
Before I get into the questions, I want to thank all three of you guys and gals for putting yourselves out there. This is a tough job, and it's not part-time by any means, and it's complicated to understand all the regulations and what's embedded in them, like the LDRs and so forth. So you have to, whoever gets it has your work cut out for you. I personally appreciate it. And that includes Mr. Hall. He withdrew his application, but he also understands how difficult this position is. So thank all three of you. Mr. Schwimmer, you have an MA in political science, Miami of Ohio?
Yes.
Okay, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I went to graduate school right after earning my undergraduate degree. Went there, and, my real goal was to work, State Department, intelligence, something like that. Got drafted into the Air Force, but I got accepted into officer training school, and so that was kind of like my gateway into my career, starting off. It kind of like dovetails. I was doing research for the professor. He was writing, he was doing his, research type of work and publishing. And so I was like his research assistant. But actually before then, when I was doing my undergrad work, I actually worked political campaigns for a congressman. And then worked for a state Senate candidate who actually won basically the day before I left to go to the OTS.
As Air Force veterans, we move all over the place, so I couldn't really tell where you were born.
I was born in Ohio.
In Ohio, okay. So you went to Middle Tennessee State University, had a BA in International Relations?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And you've had a lot of leadership positions in the Air Force?
Yes.
Okay. And I have one that's, like I said to Ms. Custer, Facebook is out there for everybody to see. I've actually had once some people knew that you would put your name in the hat for this position. I actually had some people get in touch with me. You have posted some pretty adamant political opinions on Facebook.
Yes, I have.
That are kind of one side leaning.
Yes.
I have had people get in touch with me out of concern that would you be able to represent all people since you seem to be very strongly on one side?
Yes, that was a learning experience for myself. It's not one side or the other, it was people in the situation. I'm very open to other ideas and other points of view. I guess you could say that I got a little extreme, but it's because in response to the extreme on the other side. And I've learned to self-correct and moderate. And to answer the question that you've asked all the other candidates or applicants, is that taking criticism. I've got two girls in their early 20s, and I can take their slings all day long.
That's a little bit different than if you're sitting up here and it's done publicly by strangers, basically. It's a little bit different when it's your daughters at your house.
Right.
This is in a public forum, and people can not always be the kindest.
I understand that.
So you can handle it. Okay. As Commissioner Ayers said, I thank all three of you for the going to the time and the trouble to put in for this position. So now, gentlemen, I see we can do this in a couple of different ways, so we can decide before we do anything, you know.